Alright guys, welcome to another edition of Brolylegs Teaches You. Today we're going to be talking about spacing, something that's very critical in learning the foundation of your fundamentals is understanding where to position yourself in a match. We'll go with like Ryu or something. This one will be focused on Chun-Li and obviously because that's what I main, but what I'm going to be doing is going to be using very general terms to help you understand what footsies are, or not footsies, but how to position yourself, what you should be doing, where you should be standing is the important part. And so you can be able to, attack your opponent, or be able to apply this to better your footsies, better your neutral, better your understanding of how to block and punish, and kind of, in a way, better yourself being patient. That's kind of like the goal of this, is to help you understand how not to panic in certain situations and what to look for. Okay, so right off the bat, when the round starts, you're pretty much at a spot where most characters cannot reach or have to wait for your opponent, or you have to take a risk to get in. Okay, um, as extreme as this sounds, anytime you walk forward, anytime you jump, anytime you press a button, it's a risk, right? In a sort of way, there's different little probabilities of you getting punished, but they're all big risks, right? If I jab, that's a risk of getting hit, but the probability is pretty low. Okay, I won't put too big of numbers. I don't want to make it too like mathematical or anything like that. But let's just say these are low probabilities of getting hit. These are high probabilities of getting hit, right? Very high probabilities. And so what helps in these situations, what helps in spacing, is being able to limit those probabilities of getting hit as low as possible. If I'm pretty far right here, there's a low percent chance that Ryu's gonna hit me. The only real chance he can hit me is if he goes for a Tatsu, which is a high probability of getting punished, or a jump, which is another high probability of getting punished. And so your goal in playing this game is being able to handle those situations so it can allow you to say, oh well, this is a punish. If I jump at him and he anti-airs me, that's his correct punish, right? I'm going for a risk. If he doesn't do it, let me make sure I put guard all. If he doesn't do it, I get a jump in. That's +9 right there. I can change it. I can make it more plus the lower I go, but that's +9. And so that allows me to have a +9 position so close. So the risk is huge, but the reward is huge too, because now he has to block the incoming. He can't uppercut. He can't backdash. He can't jump. He can't even V-shift if I do this, if I put him in a string, right? So it's all about making sure that you're throwing them off when it comes to what your plus and what your minus of, right? And that's something that goes along with you too. If he jumps in, I have to give him the respect. I have to allow him to say, okay, well, he's plus. I gotta wait. I gotta figure what he wants to do. How does he want to manipulate these plus frames so that I have to throw, or I have to go for a jump or back something, right, to escape? If not, you just block, right? The blocking is the essential to this game. Sometimes it's the absolute defense that you can use to handle mix-ups, handle different situations, throws, shimmies. A block will, be fine for that. Maybe not throw. It can throw. It'll beat throw, but we'll talk about throw in a second. But going back to foot, or basically spacing, position is super critical in this game. What I'm trying to look for, and I probably should have set this up. This was kind of like, not, I wouldn't say spur of the moment, but this is more of being able to. Okay, what I'm trying to do. Wait 5 seconds. Okay. So what I want to do is be able to be outside his range. Sweep for Ryu is pretty much his furthest reaching normal. Okay. So as long as I stay outside of it, I can deliver a hit if I see that coming. Because I have more reach than him, my position is a lot further away, where I can hit him at a further distance. Okay? Now, positions change all the time because it matters on how close you are, how far you are, where you're walking, if you jumped in, stuff like that. So position's always changing. But the closer I am, the more, the closer I am to his range, the more I have to kind of respect these normals. If I don't respect these normals, then it becomes an issue because now I'm not trying to like block or I'm not trying to do anything. I'm thinking about what I want to do. But I have to make sure that I'm not in his range if I want to produce some kind of form of footsies of range of being able to have some kind of neutral. Okay. If I have some neutral like that and if I'm in his range, guess what? That crush counter that happens a lot because I'm not in the right range. Yes, I outreach him, but the problem is I don't know when he's gonna press his buttons. So if I want to be safe about it, I will make sure that I'm out here and my position is good because I can escape whatever normal he's got, and I can kind of apply that to hitting him and being able to attack freely without worrying if I'm gonna get counter hit or not. So being outside his range allows me to get these kind of hits. Now that doesn't mean that I can't get hit. If I were to press this over and over, I eventually will get hit just like that. So understanding the frame data of the game is very, very helpful. Now, another thing that's really useful in positioning is when I know I'm in his range, if I understand what I'm blocking, that's a punish right there. These are all punishes that I can apply to my opponent because I'm positioned in a way where I'm waiting for him to do something. Okay? At this range right here, I'm waiting for something. Now, it could be different things. It could be, a dash. It could be a jump. But positioning helps clear the mind to be able to choose a good defensive option, right? If I'm right here close, guess what? Now I'm susceptible to his normals. I'm susceptible to throw because he can reach me really fast here, and I'm susceptible to cross up. So if I had Ryu go for a cross up, that's gonna get me in trouble. Because now, if I'm right here and I'm waiting for him, he's gonna get that cross up going. And if I'm right here in this position, I can't anti-air. So that right there is a big indication of not knowing where you should be positioned in a match. A lot of times there are gonna be characters that will affect your positioning to where you can't just easily get to that spot you want, right? Characters that people struggle with a lot: Bison, Balrog, Cammy, Laura. Those are characters that it's very difficult for you to position yourself freely. And when we fight those kind of characters, what we start doing is that's where the knowledge of frame data matter the most. The main thing that you always want to make sure you're trying to do is stay inside the range to where if they jump, you can anti-air cleanly. If you're in the position, if you're too close or you're too far, you get a little, you get a little nervous because, or at least for me, because now I don't have a way to punish jumps, as easy as possible. Yeah, I can do stand heavy kick, but unless the character has a slow jump, there's no way I'm gonna stand heavy kick because you never know where the thing's gonna happen, where the jump's gonna happen. You never know the timing of it, and you're not looking for it all the time. You're looking at your character, and right now Ryu's standing. So I'm not thinking too much about the jump. I have to react to the jump. To be able to react a new stand heavy kick as an anti from far away, very hard to do. Possible, yes, but very, very hard to do. And so when we're in this position, one thing that you want to make sure you're doing is being able to close the gap whenever someone has that ability to kind of close, be able to run away from you or to create space between you and your opponent. One thing I want to show you guys is what happens if an opponent backdash or forward dashes. Whoops, that ain't even forward dash. Let me do that again. So backdash, wait a couple seconds, forward dash. Okay. So let's go ahead and turn that on. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna reset this. So when they backdash, you want to chase them down, because if you kind of stay outside the range and you allow them to be there, now it's like, how do you punish them? He's gonna throw a fireball. How do you punish him? Right? So a lot of times you have to stay within your opponent so that you can still reach them. Okay. And another thing too is, like, if you can be in this range right here, I can see that dash and I can have something like a short, like a normal, whether it's a jab, whether it's a light kick, something short that can get that punish in, so that I don't just let them have that dash for free. This is the hard part. Punishing dashes is really hard. Again, this is another reason why Bison has a lot of, gives a lot of trouble to a lot of players, because his dash is very intimidating. But it's still the same. You can still punish it just the same. Okay. So a lot of times if I see my opponent back off, I'm gonna try to maintain this range. Now let me go into a Chun-Li specific thing. So one thing that's Chun-Li specific is the best range that you can be is when you can crouching middle punch. That was -7, so not there. But you wanna crouching middle punch at max range. Wherever you can crouching middle punch at max range, even if it's -3. -3 is fine. -3 you can't get punished. I'm trying to think. Does anyone really punish it? No, nobody can punish it. Not that far. So the reason why is because this is one of the best pokes in the game, because it's very low. It's very it's hard to use. I will say that it's good, but it's hard to use. It goes under fireball. So if I had Ryu, let me see, record fireball. So this I might have to mash it. I hate timing these things. No. There we go. Reversal. Yeah, reversal. You did it right. So one of the things, this might be a little rare, but it can happen, and I want you guys to apply this to anybody with a fireball. Anybody with a fireball. Anybody. So whenever you're in this position and you go for a footsie and you see a fireball, the reason why crouching middle punch is really good for Chun is that I can react and punish that. Because I'm always looking at my opponent, and my range, my positioning is strong, where I can do that, where I can react to these kind of things. It's super important to be able to be right here and to be able to punish that right off the bat. Especially when you have V-trigger. Because now that I have V-trigger, I can apply it whenever I want to throw this crouching middle punch. Doesn't mean I want to do it as soon as I get V-trigger, but now I can do that, get X legs. If I was good, I'd punch that, or whatever. Right? So you get the punish, you get the knockdown. It's super important to be in the range, in the vicinity of Ryu, so that you can have these options. Because every hit, anytime you damage your opponent, anytime you choose the right option, it affects your opponent mentally. Right? If I hit this one time after he's fireballed me, now what is he gonna do? Now he's gonna be like, oh shit, I need to block low. I need to stop throwing fireballs. That already, because you can access that and you can make him think that way, allows you to walk up more and get to the throw position that you want. Right? If I start hitting him, let me take the recovery off. If I start hitting, or like if I start laying these attacks, especially if he presses buttons, that's gonna tell him this isn't working. I need to do something else, right? The better players don't treat getting hit as a failure. If I get hit by a button, doesn't mean I'm doing wrong. I'm gonna be consistent because I don't want to get swayed by getting hit. If I get hit at my position right here, let's just say he does Tatsu. Let's just say I went for a fireball up here, and he went for Tatsu, or he went for jump and I missed it. Doesn't mean my position's wrong. I just missed, right? I just didn't punish something right. I wasn't patient enough. But I'm not gonna change my position. I'm still gonna be right here. But now that he did that, now that I got hit, it's in my head. Now I can access that and say, this is what he's done. So that now when I'm in this position again, he might throw it again and I'll have a better punish. Right? If my opponent, I know I'm switching back and forth a lot, but so if my opponent decided to say, you know what, I'm gonna do toxic. And I said, okay. Recording on, okay. So let's just say I got hit by it, right? I'm like, oh shit, I got hit by it. Next time, I'll deliver something. Like if I get hit, what? I got hit, knocked down, okay, 90 damage. Let's see if I can do better. Right? 70 damage, 270 damage. Right? Like, the changes between what he hit me with and I hit him with was 180 damage. That was the difference. So, just because I got hit by something doesn't mean that I'm doing something wrong or something needs to be changed. It just means that I have to be more aware. The more aware you are of certain things, of what your opponent's options are, the better you will be. That's kind of something that's just really hard to do when there's almost 50 characters. But it does require that. You can bulldoze your opponent. And some people won't be able to handle you because at the same time, the way I'm talking about, like, well, he has to think about you and you have to think about him. Like, just because when you're thinking about his options, he still has to worry about your options too. Just because you're right here and you're not gonna jump doesn't mean he's not gonna jump. He can jump at you. So if he jumps at you, I'm in the perfect position to answer. But he has to be the same way. Because I can jump at him at the same time and he has to answer me. Right? So there is a lot of like, okay, who's going first? There is a lot of questions of how do I defend against this neutral, or how do I defend against this button? And you have to make sure you're understanding frame data. If my position is right here and I'm expecting to block something, I gotta know what to do in this position. Right? So if he decides, let me go ahead and do this one more thing. Because this actually happens a lot. Okay. Give me one. So if he's just, whoops. Okay, well, I don't want to do that. Not yet. Nope. Okay. Good. So if he were to do this, and I was at this range, whoops, maybe right here. Maybe right here, so you can tip. That's +1 for me, that's -1 for him. Alright? -1 for him. Now, if my positioning was here, that's -6. So now what do I get? EX legs. A punish. Right? And this is very specific. Right? Here, it's not so bad. Like right here, +3 for him. So this is why fireball positioning matters. The further you're away from a fireball and you have to block, the more plus he is. The closer you are, the more negative it is. Now he's -6, and now that I know he's -6 here, I'll go for the EX leg. If I did it right, I'll get the punish. But see, now spacing is like a little different, so I have to get closer. And that's why middle kick is super important for Ryu, because he wants to push his opponent away from me. Okay. Spacing matters a lot because it gives you different variations of a normal and says, okay, can you punish this or not, or a special or a scenario, and then it asks you like, can you punish it? And this is where knowledge comes into play, because just because I block a fireball doesn't mean the frame data is the same. It could be negative, it could be positive. It's never really like the same outcome. But you know better once you put it in the lab and you see, oh, if I block fireball really close, punish. Versus I block something really far. So that's why whenever you see me fighting against Ryu from far away, I'm trying to get under that. Because I don't want to give him that plus frame. Right? I'm trying to. Not always, but something I want to do. We're all throw a fireball. But the problem here is if I jump, he can uppercut me. Again, another thing that's really important about fireball, about position, is that if I jump here, I can hit, I can lay a hit. But if I jump from here, he can uppercut me. Because he's already recovered. But if I hit, see, so I can't, obviously, if he just did fireball and block, I wouldn't have punished him there. So that's why position matters, because it gives you that threat of being able to jump at them. It's vice versa, so it's kind of like, just because I'm in position to jump at him, he's also in position to jump at me. So there is again another like tug of war of like who's gonna do it first, or who's gonna fire the first shot, and that is determined by like how patient you are or how aggressive you are. If you're aggressive, you're gonna want to jump first. You're gonna want to test him first. If you're defensive, you have a defensive character like me, because I don't have a jump big, like I don't have an amazing jump. I have an okay jump, but I don't have an amazing jump. And so because of that, that's where things are changed, and that's where you have to make sure to understand what your opponent's thinking, how he's doing, how he's able to change his approach to the match. These all kind of change. Like it's never gonna be to where you're always gonna be in this position. This is what you want to do. This is what you're trying to get to, but it also depends on the character, right? Like, for example, this will be kind of like my last example. Picture Ryu instead of picture Honda instead of Ryu. Okay, if he does a light headbutt, it's not punishable. You can't punish it. But if he does medium headbutt or heavy headbutt, then you can punish it. So you don't want to be right here against Honda. You want to be here. You want to be outside that light fire, that light headbutt. Same issue with Blanca. The same issue with Bison, kind of. Bison's a little different because the heavier his scissor kick, the more plus he becomes. So that's a character where you want to stay around here, because if he does scissors that's not EX or heavy, then you can punish it. Hard to punish, but you can punish it. But that's pretty much the positioning aspect of Street Fighter. Remember, you don't want to stay outside too far away from your opponent. Some will change it up, like Dalsum, like Manat, like Poison, where you cannot get to this spot. This is where you want to be, but they're making it very difficult for you to get to that spot. So you have to work with, what the probability is of jumping in from far or dashing in from far, stuff like that. What's the probability of you getting hit? But basically, what you want to do is you want to get into this position as Chun-Li. You want to get to crouching middle punch range. That's not necessarily punishable. And you want to be annoyance to force your opponent to make other changes. Right? Any kind of hit that you do to your opponent, any kind of mistake they may try to correct it really fast. So if they get hit by my crouching middle punch right here, guess what? The next move might be a jump. And so if you're able to have that read on your opponent, you get that anti-air, and you get your mix-ups, and then you continue going on and on and on. But position is very key to deliver great normals, great footsies, good neutral, and it just allows you to be in control of what you guys want to do in the ground game of Street Fighter 5. So yeah, that'll be do it for me for this edition of Brolylegs teaches you. If you guys want to sign up, I will put it in the link description on my YouTube video. There'll be a link description to sign up with me for training sessions at metafy.gg/@Brolylegs. It's also in the chat here, so it's all good. Um, but yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later.